Every one of us is tasked with bringing the world to perfection. This week's Parashah reveals a secret to help us do just that. This week we start the fourth book of the Torah, the book of Bamidbar. This week's Parashah Bamidbar, is always read before Shavuot, usually immediately before. In fact, we do some complicated manipulations, doubling up on the Torah readings over the past month to ensure we read Bamidbar before Shavuot. What's the reason? Why is it so important that this week's Parsha is read before Shavuot? One approach the rabbis take has us looking back at last week's Parsha. Last week contained a long set of curses that would befall the people if they did not keep the Torah. That's not the tone you want as you go into Shavuot, the holiday of the giving of the Torah. So the schedule is arranged so that we go into Shavuot on a better note. Okay, lovely reason. But there's one problem with it. Had we just not doubled up on so many parashot in the last month, we wouldn't have gotten to those curses until several weeks after Shavuot. By doubling up on so many parashot these last few weeks, we were in fact pulling the curses forward to read them before Shavuot. So yes, we're solving a problem, but it's a problem we caused. There has to be another reason. A second approach is that we want to begin the book of Bamidbar, literally in the desert before Shavuot, to remind us that the Torah was given in the desert. Why does that matter? Just as the desert is owned by no one person, so can no one person claim ownership of the entire Torah. Okay, lovely idea, but why is it so important that we manipulate the Torah reading schedule to make that point? Rav Yehuda Amital, whose Torah I've been learning a lot of late, has a phrase he'd repeat over and over until it was ingrained in his students. Ein monopol ba Torah. There is no monopoly on Torah. No one person, no one rabbi, no one school of thought has a monopoly on understanding Torah. Rav Amital would say that you can study Torah at any yeshiva. You can go to any shul. You can learn from any rabbi. You can follow any path in the service of Hashem, except the path that believes it's the only path. There's something dangerous about an approach to Torah that believes their approach is the only valid approach. The Midrash famously says that there are 70 faces of the Torah. Some of those faces are actually contradictory. But the beauty of Torah is that there can be truth contained even within contradictory opinions. There is truth to be learned by studying even those faces of Torah with which you don't agree. Now, that doesn't mean that anything goes. Torah is not a free-for-all. There are 70 faces to Torah, not 71. There are limits. Not every approach, not every interpretation is valid. But limiting yourself to only one of those, believing that your understanding is the only true understanding, and anyone holding a different understanding is a heretic, that leads to fundamentalism and diminishes Hashem's Torah. Chaverim, my friends, Shavuot, the holiday associated with the giving of Torah, is just a few days away. There's a custom to spend the night of Shavuot learning extra Torah. Some people stay up learning all night long. Many shuls have all-night learning programs. The best of these, in my opinion, are when multiple shuls join together so that you get to hear from rabbis of shuls you don't usually attend. Learning faces of Torah you don't usually get exposed to. Now, not everyone is able to do all-night learning, and that's okay. But my challenge to each of you this year is to expand your Torah learning on Shavuot. Not in depth, but in breadth. Get out of your comfort zone. Go to a shiur from a rabbi you don't usually learn with. Find a program at a shul you don't usually attend. Open a sefer that you've never learned from before. Download some reading from some or other than your regular go-to sources. Explore some of those other 69 faces of Torah that you don't usually explore. Your understanding of Torah and your ability to apply that Torah to your life will be all the richer for it. That's one thing we can learn from this week's Parsha. How will you step up this week to bring the world a little closer to perfection? Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, and Am Yisroel Chai.